So, David, what will the Republicans? I guess what's the there on Benghazi? I mean, the there, right, is there was an attack. 4 Americans were killed, including the ambassador.
Right.
They've since beefed, and because one of the things, they didn't have enough security because they lacked funding.
The Republicans cut it.
And now they beefed up security, and life moves on. Except with this Republican crowd, life never moves on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are 2 aspects to the book. One is the way the Republicans and their allies in the conservative media politicized not only a tragedy, but people forget a night of valor. And what they did here really, I think, struck me as, and I've been watching them for years, as particularly unconscionable in the sense that there was, I think, dishonoring the dead. The phony story that the military sat in its hands and did nothing.
Which has been repudiated, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah.
The idea that Americans were left behind. I mean, that's really an attack on these rescue teams who were really brave and got everybody out in 12 hours. And then the investigative powers and the abuse there, the leaks, the lying to the press, disclosing classified information that put people's lives in danger. So all for partisan gain. And then I think the second piece of this is this is a classic case of journalistic malpractice. So you could start with Fox, which you might expect, but Fox did 85 primetime segments on this phony story that there was a stand-down order issued when every military official who testified said that never happened. One of my favorites was, they were trying to make the case that Obama was disengaged and absent the night of the attacks.
Oh, yeah.
And so the anchor on air asks, indignantly, where was Tom Donilon, the NSC advisor, during this tragedy? And behind the anchor is a picture of Tom Donilon with Obama in the Oval Office.
No,
so yes,
really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and then it leaked over into the mainstream media. I mean, a reporter at CBS News, Cheryl Atkinson, when Darrell Issa was attacking the Accountability Review Board, which was the independent entity that reviewed all this, he didn't like their conclusions because they didn't find any fault with Obama. They found no fault with Secretary Clinton. So he went out and trashed the review board, which had 2 distinguished public servants at the head of it who had served Republican presidents, 5 CBS stories on that. Then the Inspector General came in and looked at the Accountability Review Board, concluded it was independent, no bias, and no CBS story. So there's blame to go around all the way with the media here, I think.
It also struck me as so apparent that 4 Americans were killed here, and right away it's Obama's fault. Obama's got to resign or kind of whatever.
Yeah.
3,000 people killed at 9/11 under George Bush's watch. I mean, Democrats never said, "Oh, it's all George Bush's fault."
Absolutely.
Terrorist attacks happen.
Yeah, there were 157 attacks on U.S. diplomatic facilities since 1998. Now, most of those were under George W. Bush. And yet Benghazi is the most investigated incident of its kind in recent history. And the question is, why is that? And you're right. The Democrats didn't make a partisan issue out of that. They didn't dishonor the dead and slander the military to get at their political enemies. The Republicans used Benghazi to forward this really character assassination of Obama, that he's a weak president, that he leads from behind, that he is somehow un-American, he sides with the terrorists. And, of course, that's not borne out in the administration's policies whatsoever, which were stronger than George W. Bush's.
What about the charge, and I get this all the time, well, they didn't call in the airstrikes. They could have called in airstrikes, but they didn't do so, and that would have saved the day.
Sure. Look, according to the testimony, Robert Gates, for example, said that every asset that could have been deployed was deployed, and what the Republicans are saying after the fact, if that had been done, it was dangerous. And so there's really nothing to it. And
some of those planes, right, were so far away, wherever they were based in Italy, that they couldn't get there.
And Leon Panetta said logistically impossible. So everything was done that could have been done, according to all the testimony.
The other thing that I've heard so often, because some of the reporters in the briefings were picking up the right-wing propaganda, and they were just pounding.
Right.
is I'm going to come back to what you said about President Obama's role. They were demanding a minute-by-minute account of that night.
Right.
Everything the president did, said, or whatever, minute by minute, as if he didn't care or wasn't on the job.
That's right. So they were trying to say, essentially, I think what it really was is that he didn't care, that Americans were dying, and he's not one of us, so he really doesn't care that these deaths are happening. And, we've reviewed what happened that night. He met with Panetta. He had all the military briefings. There was no disengagement, and there's a long list in our book of, they made the same accusation of Secretary Clinton, everything she did that night, very engaged, both very steady hands. So that was one of these Fox-inspired hoaxes that we take apart in the book, and almost all of them can be traced in some way to the Fox News Channel.
The name of the book is, the title of the book is, I love it, The Benghazi Hoax. It's exactly what it was, The Benghazi Hoax. I mean, yeah, that happened, but it's the story that the right wing is trying to put out, which is the Benghazi Hoax. David Brock and Ari Rabenhaft from Media Matters. How do people get it? It's an ebook, correct?
Yes, it's an ebook.
That's the fastest way to get a book out these days.
That's right. The way the publishers work, by the time you get the book out, it's not as timely as it should be.
It would be 2015
This is
by the time
That's
you
right.
get it
This
out.
is our first ebook, and the easiest thing to do is 99 cents on Amazon, and you can get the book, and it takes you through these 15 hoaxes and how to debunk each one.
It just came out yesterday, too,
yes,
folks.
That's right.
Just available yesterday, so this is brand new. Hot off the press, as we might say.